So this is the beginning, as Jaz has brought us together into this inaugural group. This is the beginning of our filibuster, and perhaps I introduced myself earlier, um, just before we started. But for those who have come in later, I'm Catherine Frazee, along with Gabrielle Peters, who is also with us tonight. We have been, um, it's hard to say the word steering, but at least trying to breathe life into a very ambitious and important initiative. It is quite remarkable the things that one must do to attract the attention of our leaders and our national conversation. But Bill C7, as Jaz has pointed out, is a very dangerous instrument that comes with a history and with a profound capacity to further disrupt our very fragile bonds of respect and care for each other and for the land. So it is an especially dangerous and I think collectively believe violent and very present danger. As you can tell, I'm sure, this event has been assembled, if you can call it that, on a very tight timeline. And yet we are committed, as we have expressed in some of our documents, to the notion, what I've called crypt time, what others have called crypt time, but it is basically time that slows down for human beings to do what must be done to care for ourselves and each other at the same time as we work. And although I have to say that as some of the people who have been working behind the scenes know well, we haven't been 100% successful at honoring that commitment to ourselves. But we'll say more about that. But many people have been working very hard to make this possible. And I think, the gratitude is very deep. We have had some changes, of course, last minute in the schedule. We had originally thought that we would be able to commemorate International Women's Day with a panel of women, and Sarah Jama was going to convene that group or lead that conversation. She'll be back at another time. But tonight it was, I think it's fair to say, for all of her labors, it was physically impossible. And so, in the spirit of the filibuster, we are unscripted. The agenda is open and fluid. The only commitment we have is to keep the process going, to hand the microphone, as it were, from one to another throughout the night and into the day tomorrow. But with fewer people to populate our agenda, we're going to have to rely upon many of you as well to help us continue the presence and the active presence of our filibuster. So unscripted, it may be a bit uneven. It won't have, that's okay, come on in. It won't have Hollywood production levels. So if we're competing with Netflix, chances are we will fail. But we have a great deal of heart and a great deal of will in the room. So let's see where we can go with that. I have no idea where this is going to go. And I can tell you one thing. What you're going to hear and witness are some of the kind of backstage conversations that in a professional production would be kept hidden from the audience. But you're not an audience, you're fellow participants. And we're not, I'm not anyway, professional presenter. So you're just going to get the gritty, real thing, I think, tonight. And I hope that you'll participate and chat with me for now until our next filibusterer arrives. Yeah, filibustering person. That's great. Thank you. So I'd like to, if it's two things. One, this is one of those background conversations. May I ask our technical person, if it's still Gloria, do you know if the live stream actually went live somewhere? This may be, well, let's call it our first glitch of many if it did not.
Yes, this is Gloria speaking. I can update you that at the moment there is no live stream. This is something that will be worked out with through the university. So we will update you in the coming 24 hours or at least by tomorrow afternoon to ensure that you have that set up.
Okay. So with that, we're just going to continue this backstage conversation for a moment. I'm sure it will get very exciting. Gabrielle, is there anything that we should put out on social media, or do you think we just start with this rare and precious group and people will catch up with the recording? We are recording, correct, Gloria?
Yes, this session is being recorded.
Right, I should have made that clear to people before I asked them to participate. Okay. Gabrielle, you'll let me know through the chat if you have any suggestions or if I need to do anything. The other sort of, I mean, I have no notes to remind me, and I'm rather old and forgetful. So that's something you can all do is supplement my imperfections, or some of them, with tips and reminders. But I did want to say to everyone, following especially from what Jaz was saying and reflecting on, that a reminder for all of us to take care of ourselves as we listen to some of the presentations and some of the conversations, some of the words, some of the experiences that are part of what we feel and know, that will be uncomfortable, triggering, possibly traumatizing, that I hope you will take the time that you need and feel free to leave for a while or to turn the volume down on us for a while. There are breakout rooms. So if there is someone that you know who is also here, who you would like to talk to in a breakout room, we can arrange that. Just send a chat or a chat message, perhaps directly to Gloria. Would that be the way to do it, Gloria?
Yes, I'll be available for another hour. So if you would like that to be arranged, I can set that up.
It's probably just a good idea to have a chat room, a private room that people can go to if they want a bit of space to chat with a friend privately. Okay, so perhaps we can just start out by opening it up to any questions or observations or uncertainties from any of you. And then maybe I'll ask a few questions to start a conversation. I would love to have someone join me to chat about the significance of International Women's Day for women with disabilities. We'll prioritize women today. I think we have to some extent on our program. But also, it seems a fitting moment to reflect upon the history of why we are here and what came before MAID in Canada, or what came before Bill C-7 in Canada and perhaps around the world. Thank you, Amy, for giving that tip about how people who want to speak should raise their hand. So any questions from anyone before I ask questions of you? And those of you I know, beware, because I might start with you.
Before anybody jumps in, this is Gloria again. I want to mention that Stephen SD mentioned in the chat if he could please jump online for a moment to say something. So yes. Stephen, if you'd like to, I can just put you on spotlight. Stephen, are you able to unmute? Would you like to?
Yes.
Catherine, you know me. I'm always able to unmute when given an opportunity.
That is the truth.
I just wanted to say, as we start out on this fabulous enterprise, how warmed I am as a human being that you and Gabrielle have taken the initiative to do this. You know, it's just Friday last that I heard about it. And we've been fighting this fight for a long time. And we're down to the wire. And quite frankly, on Thursday last, I had pretty much said, oh, to hell with it. So to see your email and the work that you and Gabrielle have done in 72 hours is really uplifting for my soul. And I think, to be honest with you, that as we go forward, we will find that it's like that kind of Field of Dreams movie, you know. If you build it, they will come. So let's go forward and work together in a spirit of solidarity and respect. I wanted to say a very profound thank you to you both. And I wanted to say also, while I'm unmuted, which won't last much longer, I promise, that our service providers, sign language folks, card providers have jumped in with just a really profound sense of solidarity. And as someone who's reliant on captioning, I appreciate that very deeply. And I think that, all of us who have accommodation requirements or live on crib time, as you call them, are going to have to make some accommodations and have to have some flexibility as we go forward here. Because, we can only do so much. We only have so much money, but we're doing the best we can. And I think it's very important that we understand that and that we really respect those folks who are helping us out here. So with that, I'm going to unmute, or mute rather. I get confused sometimes when the mouth starts running, I'm sorry. But I'm going to pass it back to you. But just to say once again to you and Gabrielle, thank you so much. We owe you an enormous debt.
Thank you, Steve. And we'll make sure. I know Gabrielle texted me a minute ago, and she has her window open, but she may be away from the computer. So that was a very endearing contribution, Steve. I thank you for that. I think that it bears noting that Steve too has been helping us with such a passion over the last, is it only since Friday? My goodness, it seems like much longer. But anything that I felt that we were lacking or that might be a problem, Steve was is so optimistic and yes, a very can-do and very encouraging approach. So, and I think we fuel each other, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We bring, it sounds trite, doesn't it, to say that we make the whole so much greater than its individual parts. But we are strengthened and emboldened by each other, and even with an enterprise like this that it's just starting, and we have great uncertainties about what the future will hold, but continuously at our lowest moments, it seems, people will say or do or offer something that reminds us of why we're doing this. And so I think there was no turning back from that original idea. And yes, I see that Heather has put her hand up. Hang on one more second, Heather. I can't wait to hear your voice again. But I do want to remember, as someone just noted in the chat box, but I think it bears featuring that Kate, what is your last name again, Kate? I know it's McWilliams, Kate McWilliams, if you're still here. Kate has been working so hard with the bookings and with the nurturing and confidence building of volunteer presenters and volunteer supporters, and these sacrifices are the sacrifices that are required to do that work are greatly appreciated, and And Gabrielle reminded me that Q has been contributing, and Q, we don't know each other, but I'm sure we will. That Q has been contributing in many ways, in many supportive and hopeful ways. So thank you for all of that. So my old friend Heather, I'm so happy to see you. And why don't you introduce yourself first and then make your intervention. Don't forget to unmute. Good.
So my name is Heather Willis, and it is so lovely to see you and hear your voice as well, Catherine. I was going to make reference to my career as a disability studies graduate at Ryerson University, where Catherine taught. And you mentioned the women's movement, and it's not lost on me that it's International Women's Day. Happy International Women's Day, everyone. But I'm reminded of my disability studies classes where I learned of the connection between the famous five led by Nellie McClung and the association with the eugenics movement. They were proponents of the eugenics movement. So it's an interesting circumstance that we're beginning this conversation on this day.
It's so true, Heather. And, you know, it's remarkable how the government has chosen the most preposterous timing for this bill. I think somebody on the call is going to be able. I need an abundance of fact checking always. It's just the thing with me. I'm more of a writer than a speaker, and so when you're a writer, you can cheat. You can check Google constantly, or your dictionary, or your whatever you need. But the government introduced this bill on the International Day.
You need to kick out a few people.
Sorry? The International Day for People.